I almost talked about unmuting again. Welcome back to Hibou's live stream coding payroll extravaganza. We are moving on to New Jersey, which will be the last one for today. And let's get it started in here. Is that a copy strike? I don't know. Probably not. Okay. Duplicate that. New Jersey. Hopefully New Jersey doesn't have anything crazy. I think that they do have a significant amount of rates if I remember, but rules. Alright, so that's going to get that installed and get going here. Let's close down some of our folders here so that we can kind of be in a cleaner spot. Alright, New Jersey, where are you? Man, that UI lag. Alright. New Jersey, down here by North Carolina. Alright, where you'd expect it. Alright, so the test pass. This is a 2018 only, so that's going to simplify some things. Let us start by creating a directory as we normally do for models. And creating a directory for views. IntelliJ getting some love over here. It is not slow like this in general. I don't know what it is about streaming that makes it so much worse. Drag this up. There we go. All right, there it goes. Okay, so we'll rename this one into just rules. We're gonna make new file, rates.xml. Rename this one to conform. Rename it here, put the folder in there. Throw our rule rates in rather. Alright, so we have a couple of fields for the contract, including an extra filing status specifically for this form. We have a FUTA type unemployment rate. We have a employee and a employer unemployment tax. That's always fun. Looks like it was assigned on the company level. We're going to be ripping that out and putting it into rates instead. What's this all about? Nothing I need to worry about. All right, and we have a SDI for a company, SDI employee, great. FLI, WF rate, and look at all of these. So if you could imagine what a couple more years of these would do to the company table, you can see why I'm redoing this to a certain degree. So we need to potentially make 6 or so of these workforce development rates. So let's go and make some rates. So they are coming from the government. So we want that no update, I guess is where I'm going. So this is going to be New Jersey, unemployment, 2018. Let's go ahead and pull up Pennsylvania since they had a similar strange employer and employee unemployment tax. Can't spell. Too many hours in front of the computer today. So let's get our rates up for them. I actually want that split. All right, so what did we go with? We decided to prefix with ER. All right, so we will put company here. And we'll do ER, New Jersey, unemployment. And we'll have to look up that rate. We're gonna have to look up a bunch of stuff here. And we're gonna do 2018s, just so that we don't forget. And we will change this to be EE, US, NJ. So that's not default rates at all for this. Okay, so we have all right, so let's look up the caps for that, or at least for the prior year. Well, not the caps, sorry. Let's look at the rates, etc. All right, so we're going to come over here and pull okay. Things that I won't be changing anytime soon. And I won't be changing North Carolina either. All right, so what do we have for our default rate? And for the employer, come back for the limit, and for the employee, we have a fairly small one. 5. Okay, we will duplicate this and make one for our ER SDI. 25. I'm gonna drop this because we didn't have it in any of the other ones. And that's 0.09. And one more. How do we want to abbreviate that? WD? Workforce or workforce development? WD? Oh, shoot. No, sorry. Okay, so first question. Well, actually, let's take out this company form here. All right, so let's grab the caps. So that's going to be in the rules. All right, so unemployment wages is going to be capped at this 33.7 number. Let's go ahead and get our rate. We'll just convert this as we go down. So this is going to be wage for a... we need to see if the cap, how the caps work for the employee side. Let's see. Employment wage base. fun fact, so these are this default rate, wherever it was in the, right here, default of 3.4 does not seem accurate. New employer rates for UI in 2018. Keep in mind that this is a strange band. Is a strange band, meaning that it starts from July to, oh, sorry, I should just drag it over. For these, oh, I see it done here for existing employers, but the new employers rate, you know what I mean? Like that's what we're trying to do. So this is actually basically accurate for the existing workers' contribution rates for unemployment and state plan disability insurance are period shown workers' contribution rates. State plan is as follows. You see, so here's our taxable wage base. For the subject, employers must pay taxes on wages up to the following amounts. So only the employers have a wage base. All right, so let's start filling this in. All right, so the so we have a employer rate here, and it's taxable wage. Oh, they don't have 2019. That's awesome. All right, so this is fine the way that it is right now for the wage limit year here. The employee does not have a wage limit as far as we can tell, so that's just always going to be based on it. The wage, that is accurate for the starting for 20. They don't even have 2018 on this. I mean, they have 2018 partial, but they don't have all of 2018. Cool. Okay. Regardless, it looks like all four of these taxes have at least the possibility, with the exception of FLI, of being on both, which is, I believe, not the way that it was implemented originally. So that's fine. So now we're going to do SDI for company, and that one, also known as DI, is going to be 0.5, which is fine. The wage base for that is going to be, oh, they're all going to be the 37, this amount here. So that's good, at least. And the employee doesn't get out of it so easy. Okay, so there's only an employee FLI. But I'm going to go ahead and convert them both into employer and employee ones, because pretty sure that's going to be coming. So so the FLI one we're going to duplicate. Okay. All right, so ERFLI is going to be 0. And I mean, technically speaking, it has the same wage base everything else does. So we'll base everything off of the, actually, yeah, that's a good point. So we don't need this second one for SDI because of the fact that they're all the same. We're just going to use the wages computed on the main one. So none of these need anything. We just need to be obviously fairly careful about which ones are EE and which ones are not. So as of 2017, this was 0.1. This is abbreviated WF, workforce, apparently. And this is 0425. And the above one is going to be 1175. And we're going to have to leave all these for 2019 because of the fact that they don't have new ones yet, which is always great. So okay, on to our rules. All right, so our unemployment wages is not sequenced correctly. So a wages for a company contribution is going to be at 420 or so. So let's put this just down to 420. I know why, though, I'm sure, because ultimately they were presumably using the same. All right, so we're going to move this up to the front. We're going to take off tax. We're going to say wage colon ER colon US New Jersey. Wages, unemployment. I'm dropping the ER because none of the other ones have it. All right, so this becomes the contract FUTA type. What is this? Keep closing out a mail and it keeps reopening. Not sure if it's exactly the same, but I'm going to go ahead and allow us to opt out if we choose that Fuda type. Alright, so we don't want this anymore. We want to get the rate, which we have off to the left. Okay, so instead of using the unemployment wages, because of the fact that there is no cap for employees, we're going to use categories.basic, which is where that comes from. Moving on, so now we have the correctly sequenced unemployment rule for employees or employers. Okay, where was I? All right. Okay, so now we've already got this one up here, so we'll just go and grab it. Okay, so once again, 420. Now, a note that for the SDI wages, we didn't provide a wage limit, but it looks like we're going to because we provided already categories for the wages for it. All right, so let's go and add this to our other employer one and presumably some of the other ones, but we'll get back to it. If we hide this, I'll be able to see better. Okay, so this one is going to be wage. New Jersey, SDI. I think it just zoomed in too again. Alright, I was trying to grab this because obviously we're going to need this in the next chunk here. Okay. I wonder why we have a different contribution register. You'd think they would go to the same place. Oh. We already have that one up here. so FLI. I think the first 4 of these are always going to be basically the same, which is code changes. Oh, we'll just finish it off. The rest of them will use the same stuff. Okay, they do have state income withholdings. All right. Is there an exempt status? No, so it's just going to be true. Too much scroll. All right. So we need to get a rate here. This is the AE1. Okay, so this from here on out should probably be fine, at least for the test for this particular year. All right, so we need to go to our tests. And migrate them. Alrighty, so we're gonna have a whole bunch of tax rates. Probably are not right. What did we end up with already? Well, so far so good, I guess. Why would the workforce be 0? It's not, doesn't appear to be 0 for anybody. FLI is 0 for ER, so this is the EEs, right? EE. I don't know why this would be 0. It shouldn't be. So we will just do okay. So it's not the longest I've seen. That's promising. So for we're going to replace with test for what the actual wages were going to be. Alright, so we're going to replace anything that was star. Well, hold on a second. I guess I'm not done. Because these are not prefixed very well. Alright, so now we're going to find star times this and replace it with star self dot can guarantee we're going to need debug up here. Mysterious. I guess not that mysterious. At least we've got the numbers over here that we can use to recalculate the rates. Ultimately, I'm going to have to come back to New Jersey in the long term, though, because of the fact that I don't have the 2019 stuff out. So let's see if the 2018 stuff even works. It won't. I'm sure it won't, because I'm sure there's some kind of problem somewhere. If no other reason, we just made the wrong guess as to which of these this should have been. Oh, and some of this is supposed to be basic too, so that's another problem. Do we only have one test? We just have multiple payslips? No, we have two examples, apparently. Okay, so we have down here. Maybe we take this out for the time being. Come back for it later if we still have a rounding error. Alright, well, let's see here. So both examples fail because they don't find wage, US, New Jersey, unemployment in the categories. So let's go look at the categories. And that's simply because we haven't done any of the category stuff whatsoever. And I'm sure that there's going to be some interesting inconsistencies in here. So we've got This one. Alright, so now we get into categories. Okay, so we have some differences. This isn't a factor of 10, but it's basically the employees SDI times category basics. So let's go look at the rate for employee SDI. Employee SDI is 0.5, so now we'll go and look at the test. Employee SDI is not 0.5, so it's the employer. So which one is correct? Let's see here. DI for the employer is 0.5. Yep. Employee is gonna be it's not really that either, at least not according to my chart. Well, let's look at what our rates says. So the employee side of it is not going to be 0.5. It's going to be 0.24, but that's for 2017 because this chart is this chart doesn't have 2018 even on it. But despite the fact that it has calendar year 2018 for taxable wage base, but it doesn't have any rates for these. So we'll have to find those later as well. Anyway, so we'll do 0.24, which was the one from 24, which is the one from 2017. Look into that later. We're going to have to look into some of these other employee versus employer contributions just across the board, given that there's rates and stuff for all of them. All right, so now we have something that calculated to 0 but isn't 0, so let's go take a look at that one. So that's going to be in our first example on line 53. Okay, so in this case, we are looking at the employer SDI, and we take the wage and we multiply it times the employer SDI, and this is the first pay slip. So wage US New Jersey SDI. So we get 1.5 over here, and I would ultimately have to agree with that. So let's go and look at our SDI rate in our rates for our employer. So we had 0.5, which is fine. So now let's go look at the rules since that didn't work. So we've got the that's fine. State wages at 420. 440 is fine. Jersey SDI rate. Categories dot. This is going to be the wage. US New Jersey SDI. Likewise, we're probably going to have another bug. No, maybe not. Okay. Okay, so now we have numbers, and we're coming, so we've actually passed or went further than we did before. So now we're comparing our employee FLI to our employee FLI basic, and we just get different numbers, which tells me we're just using different results or we're not rounding in the same way. So let's take a look at our employee New Jersey FLI in the test. So that's going to be up here. Employee New Jersey FLI, so 09. And we'll look at the rates for employee New Jersey SLI. So they are slightly different. And this is the most recent one that I have, which is 2017. So let's go ahead and just basically update our test to use our 0.1 instead. And I will fix that if I can find 2018 and 2019 rates. So this is comparing apples to oranges because we have a employee workforce contribution calculation compared to the employer rate. So let's find this. This is on line 55. All right, so let's change this. Because the fact that we have a value over here, we'll change this to employee rate, which makes sense actually if you think about it, because of the way that the direction that is. Oh shoot, what's happening in the next one? We gotta start fixing these too. So this is going to be workforce, employee workforce versus workforce. So let's see what our workforce calculation is internally. Workforce, we're looking at this line basically, and we got 0. But we didn't get 0 in here, so I'm going to guess that our rate for employee workforce which we never changed. US New Jersey WF. Means that our rules are wrong for that. So let's go find that. That's fine. Oh, we're on to workforce though. Range for workforce, workforce cap. Okay. Employee workforce derives it from the employer. Okay. Okay, so we have, I believe, the same problem with the first test pay slip. So let's take a look here. We're on line 55. And we're saying that we have employee US New Jersey workforce. Workforce Cats basic. Okay, so let's go and look at workforce is 0. Okay, well that explains this part. So instead of 0, let's go ahead and take our actual default rate for our employee workforce, which is going to be negative 0.0425. And next error here is on the workforce as well, so probably correcting the rate will fix that one. So test pass. That said, I'm not confident. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to commit it as a refactor into the new rates like system, and I will have to come back to it to convert to 2019 rates. I mean, to be perfectly honest, we don't even have 2019 stuff. So this isn't the end of it. I know there's still work that needs to be done, especially considering we have some zero taxes down here that probably shouldn't be zero. We probably should have tests, etc. So I will commit this though. So let's clean up. Don't need any of this anymore. Don't need any of these anymore. Great. And I think I already took it out of here. I did, so let's just make sure that that still runs. Does. I will turn off the debug. And makes me not want to have a no update on that, but for the time being it'll be okay. We just have to keep in mind that if we run something in 2019, then we're just going to use the rates from the last year, which is actually another improvement of doing it this way, that we no longer, since we're taking all the dates out of the rules can continue to calculate even if they calculate with the wrong values, which is in my opinion improved. All right, so that looks like it works. So let's grab a comment from one of our other ones. Obviously, we didn't really quite get 2019, so we're going to say that we did New Jersey for 2019 rates. Or maybe we should just say work in progress. Okay, and that's gonna do it for me for the night. Unfortunately, I've had a headache most of the day. Started off early, not to be too big of a sub story, but it was actually up very early at like 4 a.m. with a headache. So today's been a long day. For those of you who have watched or are watching this in the future, which is probably way more likely, that wraps it for the day. If you enjoyed content like this, subscribe and we will do more. Ultimately, whether or not we do more is really dependent on whether or not we have any positive feedback and stuff from it. So keep that in mind. Until next time.